17-year-old Matthias Borg from Ljungby, Sweden, vanished after leaving a party in the early hours of December 5, 2020. What happened that night remains one of Sweden's most haunting unsolved disappearances. Matthias was born on February 28, 2003. Friends describe him as kind, social, and full of life. He was spending time with friends that evening at a party on a Gardsvägen in Ljungby. Sometime around 1 a.m., Matthias suddenly left the party, leaving behind his shoes, jacket, phone, and keys. It was freezing outside, and he walked out barefoot. Witnesses say they saw him running down a street shortly after he left. That was the last confirmed sighting of him. When Matthias didn't come home, police and volunteers launched massive searches. Helicopters, drones, dogs, and divers combed the nearby woods and the Lagan River. A single sock found in a wooded area was later tested and confirmed to belong to Matthias, but no further evidence was discovered. The case left investigators and locals puzzled. Why would a teenager leave a warm house barefoot, without his phone or jacket, in the middle of winter? As of today, Matthias Borg is still missing. No body, no confirmed sightings, and no solid leads have surfaced since that December night in 2020. His family continues to search for answers, hoping that someone somewhere knows the truth about what happened to their son. On July 22, 2018, an ordinary night in Oakland, California, turned into a horrific tragedy that would spark outrage across the nation. Nia Wilson was just 18 years old, full of energy, confidence, and dreams. She loved fashion, music, and spending time with her sisters. Family and friends described her as joyful, outgoing, and full of potential. That night, Nia and her two sisters were returning home from a family gathering. They boarded a BART train headed toward Oakland. When they got off at the MacArthur station, everything changed in an instant. Out of nowhere, a man approached Nia and her sister Letifa from behind, and suddenly, he attacked. He stabbed both sisters in what witnesses described as a completely unprovoked and random assault. Nia was struck in the neck and collapsed on the platform. Her sister Letifa was injured but survived. The attacker fled the scene but was quickly identified as John Lee Cowell, a 27-year-old man with a long criminal record and a history of mental illness. He was arrested the next day after a massive manhunt. Police later confirmed that there was no prior connection between Cowell and the Wilson sisters. Nia's death sent shockwaves through the Bay Area and beyond. The community demanded justice and raised questions about race, safety, and mental health. Many believed that Nia, a young black woman, was targeted because of her race, though prosecutors said there was no direct evidence of racial motivation. In 2020, John Lee Cowell was found guilty of first-degree murder and attempted murder for the attack on Nia and her sister. He was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Her story inspired rallies, murals, and a nationwide conversation about protecting women, especially black women, from violence. In the early hours of May 14, 2008, a 19-year-old college student named Brandon Swanson disappeared in the dark rural roads of Minnesota. His case has remained one of the most baffling missing person mysteries in the United States. Brandon Swanson was a smart and friendly young man from Marshall, Minnesota. He had just finished his first year at Minnesota West Community and Technical College, studying wind energy. On the night of his disappearance, he had been celebrating the end of the school year with friends in the nearby town of Canby. After the party, around midnight, Brandon started driving home. But sometime after leaving, his car veered off a gravel road and got stuck in a ditch. He wasn't hurt. He just needed a ride home. At around 1:54 a.m., Brandon called his parents, telling them where he thought he was. They got in the car to pick him up, but when they arrived, he wasn't there. For nearly 47 minutes, Brandon stayed on the phone with his father, trying to guide them to his location in the dark. He told his dad he could see the lights of a nearby town and decided to start walking toward them. Then suddenly Brandon said, "Oh shit," and the call disconnected. That was the last time anyone ever heard from him. Police quickly began searching the area where his car was found, but strangely, it wasn't anywhere near where Brandon believed he was. His car was discovered outside Porter, Minnesota, nearly 25 miles away from where he thought he had been stranded. Hundreds of volunteers, search dogs, and even divers searched the fields, rivers, and drainage ditches. Dogs tracked his scent to a nearby river, but it stopped suddenly on the other side. Despite extensive searches, no trace of Brandon, not even clothing or belongings, has ever been found. Several theories have emerged about what happened. Accidental drowning. Some believe Brandon fell into the Yellow Medicine River and was swept away. Misadventure or exposure. Others think he got disoriented in the dark and may have succumbed to the cold night temperatures. Foul play. While there's no evidence of another person's involvement, some question if someone picked him up or harmed him. But without physical evidence, the truth remains a mystery. Brandon's disappearance led to major changes in Minnesota law. His parents helped create Brandon's Law, which passed in 2009. It requires police to begin immediate investigations when adults go missing under unusual circumstances, not to wait 24 hours. Even after all these years, Brandon Swanson's family still hopes for answers. It was Halloween night 2001 when 21-year-old college student Cindy Song disappeared after a night of fun with friends. More than 2 decades later, her case remains one of Pennsylvania's most chilling, unsolved mysteries. Cindy Song was a student at Penn State University, majoring in integrative arts. She was born in South Korea and moved to Virginia, then Pennsylvania, to study and chase her dreams. Friends described her as creative, ambitious, and full of life. On October 31, 2001, Cindy went to a Halloween party with her friends in State College, Pennsylvania. She was dressed as a Playboy bunny, wearing a pink sleeveless top, bunny ears, and white boots. After partying until about 2 a.m., she caught a ride home with 2 friends who dropped her off at her apartment in the early morning hours of November 1st. That was the last time anyone ever saw her. When Cindy's friends couldn't reach her for days, they went to her apartment. Inside, they found her backpack, cell phone, and false eyelashes, all left behind. There were no signs of a struggle, and the door was locked, suggesting she made it home safely. But Cindy herself was gone. Police began searching immediately. They considered multiple theories, including abduction, voluntary disappearance, or foul play. A few months later, a possible lead emerged. A witness claimed to have seen a woman resembling Cindy in Philadelphia, disoriented and screaming for help, before being forced into a car. However, that sighting was never confirmed. Years later, investigators explored a connection to a man named Hugo Selensky, a convicted murderer who claimed to know where Cindy's body was buried. But authorities could never verify his story, and no physical evidence linked him to Cindy's disappearance. There are 3 main possibilities in this case. Abduction. Cindy may have been kidnapped shortly after arriving home. Foul play by someone she knew. She may have trusted the wrong person. Random attack. Given it was Halloween night, she could have been targeted while walking or returning from a nearby store. None of these theories have been proven. As of today, Cindy Song remains missing. Her family has never given up hope, and her story continues to haunt the Penn State community. Every Halloween, people remember her and the mystery that began on that fateful night in 2001. On a seemingly ordinary journey from Minnesota to New York in late 2024, 24-year-old Sam Nordquist vanished, only to be found later as a victim of a brutal crime. His story is shocking, heartbreaking, and a stark reminder of how vulnerability can lead to tragedy. Sam was a biracial transgender man from Minnesota, known for his kindness and willingness to help others. In September 2024, he traveled from his home to the Finger Lakes region of upstate New York, originally to meet someone he connected with online whom he considered to be the love of his life. Sam arrived in New York in late September 2024 and remained in contact with family for a while. Then his communications grew sparse. A missing person report was filed on February 9, 2025, after his family raised concerns about his welfare. Investigators located him at a motel called Patty's Lodge in Hopewell, New York, the last place he was known to be staying. On February 13, 2025, Human remains believed to be Sam's were discovered in a field in Yates County, New York. According to the investigation, from early December 2024 until February 2025, Sam was subjected to prolonged physical and psychological torture by multiple individuals. The listed abuses included beatings with sticks, belts, dog toys, and other objects, forcing him to consume harmful substances and other horrific acts. The suspects charged in connection with Sam's death are the following: Precious Arzuaga, Jennifer Quijano, Kyle Sage, Patrick Goodwin, Emily Motika, Kimberly Sokia, and Thomas Eves. Authorities stated that, as of now, they have found no evidence to classify the killing as a hate crime, noting that the assailants and Sam knew each other, and at least one lived with Sam. This case has been described by law enforcement as among the most horrific crimes they have investigated. Sam's death has deeply affected the LGBTQ+ community and others who follow cases of violence and vulnerability. While words can't undo what happened to Sam Nordquist, remembering him means honoring his life and ensuring his story won't be forgotten. In December of 2002, a 17-year-old high school student named Brian Carrick vanished from a small town in Illinois. What makes his case so haunting is where he was last seen, inside the local grocery store where he worked. Brian Carrick lived in Johnsburg, Illinois. He was described as quiet, kind, and responsible. He worked part-time at Val's Foods, a small local grocery store, while finishing school. By all accounts, he was a normal teenager, with no reason to run away or disappear. On the night of December 20th, 2002, Brian told his parents he was going to work a short shift at Val's Foods. He left home and never came back. When he didn't return that night, his family immediately reported him missing. When police arrived at the store, they found something chilling. Inside the produce cooler, there was blood smeared on the floor and walls, later confirmed to be Brian's. But there was no sign of him anywhere. Detectives believed that something violent had happened inside the store that night. Employees were questioned, but no one admitted to seeing what happened. The case went cold for years. Then, in 2007, a major development. A man named Mario Casciaro, who also worked at the store, was charged in connection with Brian's disappearance. Prosecutors claimed that Mario ordered another employee, Shane Lamb, to intimidate Brian over unpaid drug money, but that the confrontation turned deadly. The case against Mario Casciaro relied heavily on testimony from Shane Lamb, who said he accidentally killed Brian during the argument. But Lamb later changed his story multiple times, creating major doubts. Mario was first tried in 2009, that ended in a mistrial. He was tried again in 2013, convicted of murder, and sentenced to 26 years in prison. However, in 2015, the Illinois Appellate Court overturned his conviction, citing unreliable witness testimony and lack of physical evidence. Mario Casciaro was released and declared legally innocent. Shane Lamb was released from prison in November 2021, after serving 6 years of a 20-year sentence. More than 20 years later, Brian Carrick has never been found. No body, no weapon, and no definitive proof of what happened that night. Some believe his remains may have been hidden near the store or taken elsewhere to cover up the crime. His family continues to search for answers, hoping one day new evidence will finally come forward. In 1961, Michael Rockefeller, the 23-year-old son of one of America's most powerful families, vanished off the coast of New Guinea. Despite one of the largest search efforts in history, no trace of him was ever found. To this day, people still wonder, what really happened to Michael Rockefeller? Michael was the youngest son of Nelson Rockefeller, who would later become the Vice President of the United States. He graduated from Harvard and was passionate about art, culture, and adventure. In 1961, he traveled to Dutch New Guinea, now Papua, Indonesia, to study and collect tribal art for a museum in New York. Michael and Dutch anthropologist René Wassing set out on an expedition to visit the remote Asmat tribe, known for their intricate carvings and their history of headhunting and cannibalism. On November 17, 1961, Their small wooden boat capsized after the engine failed about 12 miles from shore. Michael and Wassing held onto the overturned boat for hours, but as the current pushed them farther out to sea, Michael made a desperate decision. He told Wassing, "I think I can make it," and began swimming towards shore, using 2 empty gasoline cans as floats. He was never seen again. As soon as news reached authorities, the Dutch government and the Rockefeller family launched an enormous search operation. Planes, boats, and helicopters scoured the coastline, but there was no sign of Michael. After 2 weeks, the official search was called off. The Dutch declared him lost at sea, but many people doubted that explanation. Over the years, several theories emerged: drowned or attacked by sharks. The simplest theory is that Michael drowned or was taken by sharks before reaching land, killed by the Asmat tribe. Some reports suggest Michael made it to shore, but was killed by local tribesmen as revenge for earlier killings by Dutch colonial officers. In the 1960s, journalists and explorers claimed to have found evidence, including eyewitnesses and tribal carvings depicting a white man's death, that pointed to this possibility. Lived among the tribe. Another theory says Michael survived and chose to live in hiding among the Asmat people. However, there's no solid proof of this, and no one has ever confirmed his survival. Michael Rockefeller was declared legally dead in 1964. His disappearance remains one of the greatest unsolved mysteries of the 20th century. The Rockefeller family never publicly confirmed any of the darker theories, but the legend of Michael's final journey still fascinates explorers and historians today.